everyone, welcome to our channel Knowledge of Friends. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. आज हम वेब टेक्नोलॉजी की क्लास करेंगे जो कि आपका क्लास 17 है. ऑलरेडी हम 16 क्लासेस कर चुके हैं, so it's a huge request to all the viewers. Please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. अब यूनिट 5 में हम कर रहे हैं जो कि यूनिट 5 सर्वलेट एंड जीएसपी है. यूनिट 1 हम ऑलरेडी कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं जो कि इंट्रोडक्शन टू वेब टेक्नोलॉजीज़ है. सेकेंड हमने यूनिट 2 किया था जो कि हमारा HTML CSS एंड XML में पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है. एंड यूनिट 3 जो है वो हमारा स्क्रिप्टिंग एंड नेटवर्किंग में डिवाइडेड है. दैट वी हैड डन इट इन द 2 पार्ट्स. एंड इन द यूनिट 4 वी हैड डन दैट इज़ योर EJB एंड JDBC एंड वो भी हमने 2 पार्ट में ही डिवाइड करके किया है. और यूनिट 5 जो कि हम कर रहे हैं वो भी हमने 2 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया है. सर्वलेट पार्ट 1 है और JSP जो है वो आपका पार्ट 2 है. एंड होपफुली आज के क्लास में हम सर्वलेट वाला पूरा पार्ट 1 कंप्लीट कर लेंगे. एंड अगर ज़्यादा लंबा क्लास नहीं जाता है, 1 घंटे से ज़्यादा नहीं जाता है, तो वी विल स्टार्ट विद JSP. अदरवाइज इन द नेक्स्ट कमिंग क्लास वी विल स्टार्ट विद JSP. First of all, it's a huge request to all the viewers. Please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel. लास्ट क्लास में हमने जो किया था वो हमने इस तरह से किया था, like we had done about that to create the servlet program to read the username, and then we had done about the discuss the get post with their examples. Now today we'll discuss about, as I told you, about redirecting the request to the other resources. Redirecting request to other resources. So here the use of the send and redirect method in Java, we will do that. First we'll do that. Use of send redirect method in Java. So that we'll discuss here. Explain the use of the send redirect method in the Java. So the send redirect method is used to redirect the response to the another resource, and this resource can have another servlet and JSP or the HTML page. In the regard of the talking about the use of the send redirect method here, the second use we have is this method is defined as the HTTP servlet response interface, and the third use we have is that this method accept the relative as well as an absolute URL, and the fourth is this method is normally used as a client side. And what was the syntax of the send redirect? We will discuss that. That is the syntax of redirect here, that is that what we have to talk about. That is your public void send redirect. So we'll discuss that. Public so here that is your public void send redirect string URL throws input output exception. So the example, if I'm talking about for this redirecting here, that we'll discuss about the example, that what were the example of particular this syntax. So we will be having as response dot send redirect www.google.com. so this is an example of redirect here. Now we'll discuss a sort of program where we have to discuss more over related to the Java here, and that is the program that what we have to deal with it, and that is your write a Java program that redirects the request to the Google search engine page. So that we will do, and we will do it in a steps here, and with regard of it more than 2 steps or a 2 step, that it totally depend upon how long it will go on. In the two step we will do that, and after that we'll do a program like write a servlet that redirect request alternatively to the JSP page named add or even, and with that we will do within 3 steps. So start with that. First one, Java program that redirects the request to Google search engine page. For that we have to write it down. In the step 1, here that we will use the send redirect method for redirecting the page to the Google page. In the first step, what you have to do is to create a simple HTML file that contain the push button, and the HTML documents is as follows. That what we have to create it out, and for that we have an input.html. Okay, so here start with HTML, then head tag close, then body tag, then form method equals to get action equals to http://localhost/servlet/search pg. Then after that we'll start with the h2 tag, and that is click following button for redirecting to Google search page. Then h2 tag close. Then after that we will start with another one, that what we have to gone through with that. h2 tag यहाँ पे close हो गया. After this we have an input type equals to submit value equals to Google search. Then form tag close, body tag close. The above HTML page will be displayed as follows on the web browser, like here when you're opening that input.html that we had saved about it. So here that is click the following button for the redirection to the Google search page, और and उसके बाद वो Google search का बटन होगा, उस पर आप क्लिक करोगे, you will go towards that. Now we'll start with the step 2 here. In the step 2, when the Google search button is pressed, then the servlet page that redirects the request to the Google web page is invoked, and the code for that servlet is asked. So we have follow that we are going to write it out. इससे आपको सिर्फ वो पेज बन गया, बट अब जो प्रोग्राम हम लिखेंगे उससे हम उस पेज पे पहुंच जाएंगे जो कि एक्चुअली हमें गूगल सर्च करना है या जो भी हम कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए हम जो प्रोग्राम लिखेंगे दैट विल स्टार्ट विद उस पेज के बारे में अगर हम बात करते हैं तो दैट विल बी saved as like search page.java. Okay, so we'll start with that. Import java.input output, import java.input output, import javax.servlet. Then we have import javax.servlet.http. Then we start with a public class search page, that is extends http servlet. Let's start with the curly bracket. Then we have public void service, that is http servlet. Then we have request here in the continue way. So here we'll go ahead with the request dot http servlet response, that is res, and for that throws servlet exception, input output exception. Start in the curly bracket, res dot set content type text slash html, then print writer out equals to res dot get writer, then res dot send redirect, that is http slash www.google.com, then out dot close, then close the curly brackets here, and after that as an output of that Google page will be displayed here. This is all what we have to gone through with that, or we have to write it down. So you have to write it on, you have to be considerate about it when you are creating the HTML, and when you are writing a program that is on Java, then you have to be very careful about it. Now we will go ahead with another program that what we have to discuss is your write a servlet that redirect the requests alternatively to the GSP pages named odd and even, and that will do in the 3 steps. So we'll go ahead with the program here, that is write a servlet that redirects request alternatively to JSP page named odd and even. So here in the step 1 we will do it as I told you about, we'll do it in a 3 steps. So in a step 1 that is the HTML form input allows which allows the user to input a number is has to be follows, like input dot html. We'll write for that, that is we'll start with the HTML tag, then head tag, and then of course we have a body tag, that is a head tag close first, then a body tag, then we have a form method equals to get action equals to, that is http // localhost examples, then we have a servlet or even, then after that here the enter number, input type equals to text, name equals to t1, then break. Then after that we'll start with the input type here, that is your input type, equals to submit, value equals to send, then form tag close, and then of course we have a body tag close. Okay, so this is all what we had done in the step 1. Now we'll start with the step 2 here. That is your step in the step 2. What we have to do is that is the servlet program that redirects the request alternatively between the JSP and pages is as to be follows, and that should be in the form of odd even .java. Okay, for that we'll start with the import javax dot servlet. Then we have import javax dot servlet dot http. Then we have import java dot input output dot abstract. Then a public class or even extends http servlet start in a curly bracket and public void service, that is http servlet request http servlet response. Oh yes. Now after that we'll start with the throws servlet exceptions, that is throws servlet exception, that is input output exception. Start curly bracket res dot set content type text slash html, then print writer out dot equals to res dot get parameter t1, and for that p1 that is your res dot get here res dot get, and then after that this is writer, sorry res के साथ dot get writer होगा, and that is string के साथ जो हम लेंगे that is your string str equals to that is rec dot get parameter, that is t1. Okay, so this will take it out here. Now after that we will be having int num equals to integer dot parse int, that is str. Then if num %2 equals to 0, start another curly bracket, then res dot send redirect, that is even page dot JSP, and close the curly bracket, else start curly bracket res dot send redirect, odd page dot JSP. Close the curly bracket, out dot close, then again curly bracket here. So this is step 2 here, that what we had deal about it. Now we'll talk about step 3 here, and that is in the form that what we have to discuss here, and that is your step 3. Step 3, that is the simple JSP pages are as to be follows, and for that first one we have is even page dot JSP, and with that we will start with HTML, then head tag close. Now after that body tag, then after body tag we have equal new string. It is an even number percent sign, and that we have, and then body tag we have close, then HTML tag as well, that is closed. And then after that we'll start with odd page dot JSP, and for that we have here dot JSP. In that we will write it down for the HTML, then we have head, then head tag close, then body, then of course we have percent equal to new string, it is even, sorry, it is an odd number, and then of course body tag close, HTML tag close as well. Now we'll discuss about another one, that is what is the request dispatcher, and what is the difference between the request dispatcher forward and include method as well. So that what we'll discuss here, and this is what we have to discuss in the detail, and then we'll discuss this difference between the forward and include method as well, and then after the session tracking with the HTTP sessions as well. So first of all we'll discuss about the request dispatcher. What is request dispatcher here? So here we'll deal with your, that is your request dispatcher. In the request dispatcher, if I'm talking about, that is the request dispatcher interface enables your servlet to call one servlet from inside to another servlet, and that means here that is that means that is using the request dispatcher we can dispatch the request to any source such as HTML, servlet, JSP, image, and so on. The other servlet is called as if an HTTP request was sent to it by the browser, and they are the two important methods that are used by the request dispatcher interface, and there are the two methods that will deal with the method and the description. So description you can write it down by your side. I'm just telling you, I will just explain you that, and you can just write it on by your side. So with the regard of the method, if I'm talking about, the first method we have here is your void forward, that is your servlet request, that is request servlet response. So in that the description for this you can write it down, that forwards the request from a servlet to the another resource, and that servlet JSP file or an HTML file on a server that it is used for. The second method we have is your void include servlet request, that is request, servlet response. For that, in the description that include the content of the resource, that is the servlet JSP page HTML file in this response here. Now we'll talk about the another one, that is the differences between, and in that the difference between forward and include method. तो फॉरवर्ड मेथड और इंक्लूड मेथड के बीच में डिफरेंसेस हम देखेंगे. So first of all, what you have to go through with, we'll discuss the 4 differences between forward and include method. And while the first one, that is a forward method, here the client request will get forwarded to the forwarding page, and in the include one, by this method the another file will be included in the current file. For the second differences, the forward here, that is once the control returned to the client, the output cannot be modified, and in include, once the control is returned to the client and any activity such as calling another servlet or another request dispatcher object that can be performed. So for the forward here, that is this method is normally used when further processing is given another web browser resources. And for the include here, for that include, that is this method is normally used to include the another web resources such as a banner content, copyrighted information, and of course and so on. And for the forward and the include, the last that is the reference we have to discuss here, that this is the for the forward one, this is the faster to execute, and for the include here, this is the slower to execute. So these were the 4 differences between the forward and the include method, and that what you can write it down. Now we'll discuss about the session tracking, and that is very important here. In the case of the session tracking here, what is session and what is the different ways to manage the sessions here, that we'll discuss here, and the different techniques that to manage the session, that we'll discuss here. But before starting with that, first we have to know about what is session here. In the session is nothing but a particular interval of time. In an HTTP is a stateless protocol in which each request is independent of the previous request, and an HTTP is a protocol using which user can interact with the server via the web browser, and it cannot remember the previously held communication, but sometimes there is a serious need to keep track of the previous communication session, and this can be achieved by the session tracking. And for that, different techniques to manage the sessions we have. The first one we have is your using session timeout method. This is the first one. The second one we have is your URL rewriting, and the third one we have is your use of cookies. So here these were the 3 that has these were the 3 different techniques to manage the sessions here. Now we'll discuss moreover about the session tracking with the HTTP session. So HTTP session we will discuss here. This is another heading. So in the HTTP sessions now, and how it is works, that we'll discuss about it. The HTTP session is an interface whose object is used for the session management, and a session contains the information specific to a particular user, that is across the whole application. And even though when a user enters into the website for the first time, HTTP session is obtained by the request.get the session, and that the user is given a unique ID to identify his session, and this unique ID can be stored into the cookie and it in a request parameter. That following are the ways by which the HTTP session that can be used here. In that ways we can use the HTTP sessions, and these were the ways. The first ways we have is to use it, and that as you can see here, the first way we have is, that is creating a new session. So here in the creating a new session here, we can go on through with, we'll just do it that. The first one we have creating a new session, that is your HTTP session, that is session equals to request.get session. This is to create a new session if not created already, and otherwise return to the existing session. And for that we will be having here is your HTTP session equals to request dot get session, that is true. This is always returns a new session here. Now we'll go ahead the second method, that is your the getting pre-existing session. Getting pre-existing session, and in that what we have to do is HTTP session equals to request dot get session, that is false. That returns pre-existing session here. Now we'll go ahead with the third one, and that is the last as well, that is your destroying a session. In a destroying a session here, if I'm talking about, so here that is your session dot invalidate, and here the various method that is used by the interface are as follows here, that what we have to discuss, that is the methods we will discuss about it and the description. So methods I will be telling you, and description I will be telling you. You can just write it down the description if you are making a notes here, and if you're not making a notes, you can just go through with that. The first one, the first method we have is your string get ID. Here this method returns to the session ID. The second one we have is your object get attribute, string attribute name, and this is this value of the attribute, that is attribute name, as the current session is returned. And the third one we have is your enumeration get attribute names. So in this, that is returns to the attribute names here. So these were the things that is we are using here, and of course that after that we will be having the another one, that is we have to discuss the another program, and that what we have to discuss is you write a servlet program to keep the track of the number of the times and user to visiting the page and displaying the count approximately, and make use of the HTTP session for the session tracking. That we will discuss, that is we are going to discuss here, and that is in, of course, in a deep way. And this is a sort of a long program, but that not after that we will discuss about the cookies, and that we will do a program, sort of a program with related to the cookies as well. So here we'll be having a program that what we have to go through with, that is you write a servlet program to keep track of number, that is number of times user is visiting the page. Display the count appropriately, make use of HTTP session for session tracking. That what we have to delete. Okay, so here this is a sort of long, but that is not that much long, of course, that you are not getting to do it. Here we start with, that is your servlet program, that is your session servlet demo, and here that is your import java dot input output, import java dot util dot abstract, import javax dot servlet, import javax dot servlet dot http dot abstract. Start the public class session servlet demo extends http servlet, and start with a curly bracket here, and after that a public void do get http servlet request dot http servlet response, then throws exception, throws servlet exception, input output exception, then start curly bracket, rest dot set content type, that is text slash html, then we have http sessions as well, that is your http session. So http session, that is session equals to require dot get session, that is a string, heading integer equals to integer session dot get attribute if send equals to null, curly bracket, and equals to new integer, that is heading equals to welcome, you are accessing the page for the first time. Then we close the tag, else start curly bracket, and then we have a heading equals to welcome once again, cnt equals to new integer tnt dot int value plus 1, then close the curly bracket. So this is all related to the servlet program, that is the session servlet demo. Now we'll discuss moreover about the session dot set attribute, that is your sentence set, that we'll discuss here. And for that we have here is, so here we will be having that as your session dot set attribute sent as well. Now the print writer out, print writer out equals to res dot get writer, then out dot print ln, that is HTML out dot println, that is head, then out dot println, of course head on किया है तो head close करेंगे, then after that out dot println body tag, out dot println body tag के बाद फिर है center tag, then we have out dot println, that is your h1 tag class heading, then after that out dot println h2 tag, the number of previous access equals to %, then out dot println, that is center tag close, that we had opened here, then out dot println body tag close, that we had opened above, then out dot print ln HTML tag close. Okay, then we close the curly bracket as well. So this is what we had done, and here we will be getting an output in the form of it welcome you are accessing the page for the first time and the number of the previous access is 0, and welcome once again that the number of the previous access is 10. तो उस तरह से अगर आप नए हो तो फिर आपको बताएगा कि वेलकम यू आर एक्सेसिंग द पेज फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम एंड द नंबर ऑफ द प्रीवियस एक्सेस इक्वल्स टू 0, और अगर आप पहले से एक्सेस कर चुके हो तो इट विल बी टेलिंग यू अबाउट वेलकम्स वंस अगेन एंड द नंबर ऑफ द प्रीवियस एक्सेस जितना भी होगा, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल 10 है तो 10. Okay, so this is all, and now we'll discuss about the cookies here, and that is in the deep, so we will go ahead with the program as well on cookies. So in the reference towards the cookies, that what are the cookies and what are the servlet that reads and print all the cookies and add the cookies with your name. So that what we'll doing it out as a sort of a program in the form of the cookies here. Cookies are some little information that can be left on your computer when we access an internet. Following steps are like our normal HTML script in which some value is entered in the text box, or the servlet program named my cookie servlet, which will get set cookies and take the value of entered by you in the HTML form. The third one is the another servlet program that named get cookie servlet, which help us to view the cookies as well. Now we'll discuss the program what we had talked about it. So here our program we have is servlet. Write a servlet that reads and print all the cookies and add the cookies with your name. That will do it. And for that we'll we'll write a HTML program. In an HTML program we have to start with the HTML, then head, then of course title, that is demo of cookies, then title tag close, head tag close, body text start, form name equals to form1, method equals to post, action equals to http localhost 80 slash examples servlet slash my cookies servlet. Then we have an http tag, enter the value for my cookie, h3 tag, then input type equals to text name equals to text data, size equals to 30, values equals to, then input type, it is not visible, input type equals to submit, value equals to submit, then form tag close, and then after that body tag close as well, and then of course the HTML tag close as well. Now we'll talk about the step 2 here. In this step 2, that is servlet program, that is my cookies servlet .java. Now for that we'll write a program, that is import java.input-output.abstract, then import javax dot servlet import javax dot servlet.http, then public class my cookies servlet extends http servlet start curly bracket public void do post http servlet request req http servlet response res, that is throws, servlet exception, that is input output exception. Then start another curly bracket, and then after that here with the regard of it, and after that we will be having a string text data equals to Tokyo.get parameter text data, that is to create a cookies. Now we'll create a cookies here, that is a cookie equals to new cookie, that is my cookie text data. This is adding cookie to the HTTP response, and for that we will be have to add the cookies to the HTTP response here, and for that we have to write it down like that is your add cookie. Write friendly output to the browser is that is res.set content type, that is text / HTML. Then print writer out equals to res.get writer, that is out.print ln h2 tag my cookie has been set to out.print ln text data, then out.print ln br tag, and of course the br tag, then out.print ln this page shows that cookie has been added. Then after that out.close, and after that as well we'll close the curly bracket. Then we have the first created an object of the cookie and class using which the cookies can be added using the add cookie method here that we had done here. Now we will do ahead with the step third, and that is in the step third, that is your servlet program get cookies servlet.java. Here import java.input output, then import javax.servlet import javax.servlet.http. Now for the public class here, public class that is your get cookie servlet extends http servlet start curly bracket public void do get, that is your http servlet request, that is requeue http servlet response, that is res throws servlets exception input output exception start curly bracket here, that is your cookie is equals to dot get cookies, that is your rest dot set content type text slash html print writer out equals to rest dot get writer, then after that we have an output print ln beta int n equals to my cookies dot length for int I equals to 0, I is less than n and I plus plus, and start curly bracket as well, string name equals to my cookies I dot get name, then string value equals to my cookies I dot get value, or dot println name equals to last name, then out dot print ln and value equals to last value, then start curly bracket out dot close curly bracket as well as will close the two curly bracket as well. Now we'll discuss about the difference between the sessions and cookies here, and that is what it will be, and that is the last topic that we'll discuss here in this class. And after that, in the next coming class, we'll discuss about JSP, that is Java Server Page, as I told you about it. So now we'll discuss about difference between session and cookie. So the difference between the session and cookie, so there are many, we'll discuss 7 differences between sessions and cookies here. So the first difference is that in the session case that the data remains on the server side, and for the cookie is that the data is on the client side. The first difference we have. The second difference we have for the session, we have that is unlimited size of data as per as server capacity, and the cookies for that limited support for the data handling. The third difference is that it can store any type of a data, and for that cookie is it can store only text type data. For the session here, that is it, the fourth difference is how long the data should remain on the server is not fixed. And for the cookies here, that is, we can set the time for which the data can remain on the client side. For the session here, that is, the session destroys after the session's timeout of logout, and the cookie sessions remains on client machine. For the session here, that is the sixth difference, is there is less data traveling over the network. And for the cookies, and all the cookies need to try each time client sends a request to the server as well. The next and the last difference for this is your more secure mechanism to the session tracking, and for the cookies it is less secure here. So this is all what we have to discuss about it, and this is the end of the class as well. And first of all, it's a huge request to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel, so that many maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. As for the viewers, those who had visited our channel the first time, as I told you about the web service, web technology, we had completed the unit 1 there, and for that, this is an introduction part, and in that we had covered up about the introduction and the web development strategies, history of the web and the internet protocol, and governing web as well, and the writing web protocol and projects as well, connecting to the internet, introduction to the internet services and the tools, and of course the introduction to the client server computing, the core Java here, that is your introduction, and the operator, data type, variables, array, methods and classes, inheritance, package and interfaces, and exception handling, multi-threaded programming in a input output, and the Java applet, and string handling, event handling, introduction to AWT, and AWT controls, layout managers. That's what we had discussed about it. Now we had covered up with the unit 2 as well. In the unit 2 that we had covered up web page designing, and web page designing में हमने HTML किया है, list, tables, images, frames, forms, CSS, document type definition, XML, DTD, XML schemas, object model, presenting and using the XML, using the XML processors, DOM, SAG, dynamic HTML. In the unit 3, we had covered about the scripting and the networking. In the scripting part, JavaScript introduction and document, forms, statement, functions, objects, introduction to Ajax. And in the networking part, init address, factory method, instance method, TCP IP, client socket, URL connection, TCP IP, server socket, datagram. That what we had covered up. Now for the unit 4, that we had covered up enterprises Java Bean, that is preparing a class to be a Java Bean, creating a Java Bean, and Java Bean properties, types of bean, stateful session beans, stateless sessions beans, and entity bean as well. And then the second part of the fourth unit is your JDBC, where we had discussed about the Java database connectivity, merging data from multiple tables. Here we had covered about the joining the manipulating the database with the JDBC, prepared statement, transaction processing, stored procedure as well. In the unit 5th, this is the last unit जो कि हम कर रहे हैं. अभी तक हमने इसका फर्स्ट पार्ट जो है वो कंप्लीट कर लिया है, दैट इज़ योर इन द टर्म्स ऑफ सर्वलेट, जिसमें हमने आज की क्लास में एंड अप कर लिया है. दिस इज लाइक सर्वलेट ओवरव्यू एंड आर्किटेक्चर, इंटरफेस, सर्विसेज, सर्वलेट एंड सर्वलेट लाइफ साइकिल, handling HTTP get request, handling HTTP post request, redirecting the request to the other resources. इस यहाँ से हमने शुरू किया है. Session tracking, cookie session tracking with the help HTTP session that we had covered up. The second part हम कल से start करेंगे, that is Java server page, that is JSP, introduction, Java server page overview, and a Java server page, first a Java server page example, implicit object, scripting, standard actions, directory, custom tag libraries. That's what we have to cover in the next coming classes. Yeah, it's a huge request to all the viewers, please go through with the subscribe button and please like, share and subscribe our channel, so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. And for today this is enough. Thank you, hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give your suggestion on a comment box. Thank you.